everybody. Happy holidays. Welcome to Marsh Stream. I'm Stephanie Weisman, Artistic Director and founder of the Marsh and Marsh Stream, and welcome to our New Year Solo Arts Heal Celebration show. Tonight, I look a little strange. I'm still seated in a truck, if you've seen me here before, in front of the Trinity Center grocery store, hoping for good phone coverage. And to be able to host this Zoom tonight with Gail and not run into a bear. I also want to let you know that it's snowing up here and we had to drive through the snow. So luckily my husband is next to me and we will make it to and fro just fine. Well, as you know, it is the end of the year. It is the day before the very last day of this, whatever you want to call it, 2020. And if you would, please consider making a tax-deductible donation to support Marsh Stream and its artists. And if you do it before the end of the year, you get to take it off your taxes. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and be notified when our shows go live. And welcome any YouTubers watching. You can see all our upcoming and archived shows at themarsh.org. So thank you so much for joining us tonight and supporting us. And I'm thrilled to present tonight's Solo Arts Hero, starting with 6 performers, including me. Sorry, I'm going to perform. You'll see how good I am or bad. And then we'll have the real performers. And following that, we are going to have a writing prompt so you, our audience and performers, can write one sentence about your inspiration and aspirations for 2021. More on that later. Now, I'd like to introduce Gail Schickele, the wonderful, incredible host of Solo Arts Heal. Do you know we've already done 38 shows since the shuttering in Marsh Stream started? Hello, Gail.
Hi, Stephanie. Great to see you. I'm glad you're being safe from the bears. It's been such a great pleasure to host the Marsh Stream Solo Arts Heal. We launched our first show April 15th, and 38 shows, really. We're still running strong. You wanted me to speak a little bit about how it began, and I'll tell everyone it began just a year ago while showcasing at APAT Performing Arts Conference in New York City. I gathered a small group of solo artists whose shows embrace the power of community and the healing power of the arts through their terrific storytelling as survivors and caregivers across a variety of physical and mental challenges. And then when COVID raised its spiky head, you invited us to tell these stories live as Solo Arts Heal on Marsh Stream. And we found our audience. It's everyone, because we all endure mental and physical challenges in life, and we all need resources. So what better way to get information than through great performance? So here each week on Solo Arts Heal, we've been able to present performance and informants on a broad variety of health and wellness-related issues, including the health crisis of climate change. I can speak a little about to the group. Our initial core group includes the artists here tonight, you, of course, and Joanna Rush, Sam Simon, Rhonda Musak, Valerie David, Diane Barnes, in shows that address foster care, cancer, sexual and domestic violence, caregiving, sensory processing disorder, and strokes. And we have 3 people from the collective that couldn't be here. Bob Brader, Suzanne Backner, and Fred Johnson. Bob and Suzanne run the JMTC Theater in New York, and Bob's a writer and actor. He did 2 shows for us, Smoker and Spitting in the Face of the Devil. And Suzanne directed these shows and is also a playwright and director of The Good Adoptee, which we did about finding her birth mother, and director of another show we featured, Gloria Rosen's Listen, Can You Hear Me Now, about CODA, Children of Deaf Adults. And the wonderful Fred Johnson is an internationally renowned jazz singer, recognized globally for his work in health and wellness communities. He was instrumental in establishing the Hearts and Hope program at the University of Florida, among other good work with veterans and more. And he's currently artist in residence at the Straz Center for the Performing Arts in Tampa. Oh, I'd like to also give one shout out to Adam Strauss, a wonderful comic playwright and actor whose show The Mushroom Cure addresses OCD. And he's always been very supportive of us. He wasn't able to participate as full time as the others because he has a podcast and is very busy himself. But I recently saw he posted Letter to a Young Poet. In on Facebook. It's one of the most beautiful and life affirming letters you'll ever read by Rhonda Maria Rilke, and I think I'd like to post it in the chat if people want to assess it. It's really one of the most beautiful things. So that's our group.
Well, thank you, Gail, and you've been such a support for us, for this whole group. Incredible. Such a good partnership with you. Thank you.
Well, my pleasure. Thank you for giving us the opportunity.
So, I guess I'll hand it back to me right now, and I'm going to, believe it or not, but Gail, can you hear me?
I
Am I
can.
clear? Can you hear me?
Very clearly. Yes.
Okay, so I'm clear. You can hear me. And Brian, the producer, you can hear me, right? Right? Okay. Well, a flower was sitting there on my porch. It stood for all I ever wanted to be. It held itself tall with its head up high, proud and yet so wild. Okay, Guillermo, it's schmaltzy, but I was 12 when I wrote it. The story was actually a metaphor for racism. That was from 52 years ago. Can you believe I found this carbon copy paper today? I wrote the story under my bed, covered my bed covers with a flashlight. The next morning, I handed it to my mom. She typed it up on a typewriter. She gave me this carbon copy, and she gave my religious school teacher the original. My religious school teacher gave it to the rabbi. The rabbi asked me to read it at the monthly family night Friday night service at Temple Beth Jacob in upstate Newburgh, New York. The synagogue was packed with kids and their families, like 200 or 300 people. Everyone came on family night. I walked up to the podium, the carbon copy in my hand, and read my little prose poem. I was used to being on stage. Every year starting in first grade, I sang solos, and I had rehearsed this for days. When I was done, my mother dragged me into the bathroom to inform me that no one could hear a single word I said. I didn't have a clue there'd been a problem. Hey, Guillermo, no one told me to speak into the microphone. There was no tech rehearsal. This mother, who gave me life, who gave my writing life, stuck a pin in her daughter's psyche. Man, said Guillermo, that happened to me. When I was 6 playing in a soccer tournament, I missed 2 goals. I looked at my dad, and he was disappointed. I never played again. I didn't put that together before. Yeah, and you have kids, right? Boy, you have to be so careful. But Guillermo, you ended up a brilliant consultant instead of a professional soccer player. You know, if you'd kept it up, you might have gotten a brain injury. And I was triggered to make my life's work making sure performers are heard. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? This is our life. This is our only life. This is our earth and our heaven. This is our life. This is our only life. This is our earth and our heaven, heaven, heaven. Thank you.
Fabulous. Is that something new you just wrote? I love it.
Well, I've been working on a book and been writing a lot, and yeah, I wrote it yesterday. I just put it together yesterday, so I hope, you know, these things that we do and the stories we tell have, I found this out, have impact on other people and help people put things together and maybe help us to make different mistakes for the next time around. So,
Well said.
and that was what was so great when I talked and I told Guillermo about finding this carbon copy, which I literally did. I found the paper my mother typed it on, the actual carbon copy of what she typed. And I was like, and it turns out the same thing happened to him. He wasn't a soccer player. And then look, we do other things, and even though we get hurt sometimes we do other things because of it. So it was just really interesting. And it made me feel good about the genre of solo performance and storytelling.
That's beautiful. That's wonderful. Well, we all have a story to tell.
Yes, yes, yes. So we need to get on with some other performers, Gail, don't you think?
I think that would be fabulous.
So let's introduce performer number 1, who is Rhonda Musak. And it's Rhonda Badanda, The Adventures of a Girl with a Pain in Her Brain. But tonight, that's her solo arts piece and her incredible solo performance she does. Tonight she'll be performing Home for the Holidays by Caitlin J. Bear. Hello, Rhonda.
I couldn't go back home for Christmas, and I am gutted about it. And so I rushed, getting this done, getting that done, the rush, rushing from one room to another, from one task to another, rushing to fill in that empty space inside of me, the one that the empty wind rushed through. Then I realized, no, it's a search, something that I didn't realize I was searching for. Home. How I long to go back to my home and see my family on the West Coast for Christmas. And how I long more than ever now to go back to my home that I grew up in northern Alberta, the one that another family lives in and has for 30 years. My home has dispersed, gone to seed in the wind, and there is nowhere I can go to find it. That house I grew up in, if I stop rushing, I realize I need it like I need breath. The purple bruised sky behind the treetops, the snow threatening to fall, the farm field a few blocks down the road that we used to walk in at night. And to others, it would just be a field, but to me, it was. And now, somehow, as delicate as blown glass. Never have I loved a home so much as I did that one. I remember at the time my mom made a fire in the fireplace, and I came home for lunch and we ate chicken sandwiches beside it, she and I. The snowy day that I walked home from school, the snow squeaking beneath my feet, the quiet the snow brought, everything hushed for a time, the cold, sharp catch of it. My old house sits in my mind still. I didn't go home for Christmas, not to my old house that I grew up in because it doesn't exist, and not to my family on the West Coast. None of us can go back to the home we remember. as I think about this, it all lives inside me. That house, perhaps it never was what I thought it was. Maybe just the meaning that I created for myself. Perhaps it's even more alive for me right now. And so, as I take this moment away from the rushing, as I close my eyes and conjure the memories, I am there. I am there. I do once again live in my old house. I hear my mom downstairs, the scrape of the shovel, my dad's shovel against the drive. And I feel the smooth wallpaper of my room that I would run my hand back and forth just to feel the stability of it. I am still there. I'm still there. And now I'm overlooking the drive and picking at the ice on the inside of the windowsill with my fingernail, watching the snow sift down like it belongs to me, the brightness of it permeating my vision, that northern winter light by the moon, so bright you can walk without a light. And so I'm there. I am there, and it all has lived inside of me. I am there. I am home for the holidays. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhonda. That was beautiful. It is
Thank
so
you.
much about home. It's so much about home, isn't it? This time of year, so much.
It is. It is. And I didn't write this piece, but I also did not go home for the holidays. So, yeah.
Well, we all have to stay home, stay where we are right now, and stay safe. Wonderful. Thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to our next performer, who is Sam Simon. Sam Simon is the writer and performer of the actual dance, Love and Ultimate Journey. He will be doing an excerpt from it. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you. An excerpt, a brief poem, and a prayer. There is a dance that one day each and every one of us will dance. Indeed, today, each and every one of us is dancing. We're listening, we're masking. This dance takes place in a grand ballroom with a fabulous orchestra. The orchestra, I think, actually plays whatever song that the dancers themselves want to hear. And it's my turn to dance. I want to dance with the person I love most in this world. And if it's her turn first, I want to be her dance partner. The doctor's words, they're strange. A new vocabulary that I don't understand immediately. Stage 3. Well, why stage 3? Well, because of the size of the tissue with cancer, because there are no margins, and I'm afraid, Sam, because she has both types of breast cancer. I know what these words mean. You see, Susan's mother died of metastasized breast cancer at the age of 56. Susan is 54. Susan, Susan Merrill Cowmans. That's her maiden name. I remember the first time I ever met her, we were just 16 years old. The first time I even noticed her. And now, 34 years later, I know what I have to do. I just don't know if I can do it. I need to talk to someone. I make an appointment to see the psychiatrist I've been seeing off and on for 20 years. And I tell him about Susan's diagnosis and the images of the ballroom and the orchestra and the dance and how real it is. I tell him about standing in the middle of the dance floor, holding Susan in my arms, dancing to the song that only we hear, our favorite song, as she disappears into a tuft of cloud into the bright light. And once again, I cry. But he calls it a metaphor, and he says that the imagery is beautiful. It never occurred to me that the actual dance could be beautiful. His words have a dramatic effect on me. Rather than fearing the actual dance, I think I can get ready for the dance. You see, I now understand that the actual dance will be the ultimate consummation of our love. A poem. This poem was written as a gift to Susan on our 50th wedding anniversary. She is doing just fine. The poem is called Us, for Susan and me. Us. Life exists in each of us as a form of the divine, a tangible essence of who we are. Love? Love is when our essence became entwined, each an equal half of the other. I love you simply awakens the us in Susan and me. I love you. And now a prayer, also in the form of a poem. Before the ball falls, New Year's Eve, we take a breath for just the briefest of instants, listening for any indication that the universe has shifted and changed, praying that orchestras are playing elsewhere or nowhere at all and will not play for the entire next year. Amen. And thank you. Thank you all for being here. And thanks, Gail and the Marsh, for being such great supporters of Solo Arts Heal.
Thank you, Sam. That was so lovely. Lovely. And such a nice variety. Performance, poem, prayer. It is the temple of our performance. Solo Art Heals performance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I am so glad now to introduce Diane Barnes. She is the writer and performer of My Stroke of Luck. She will perform The Fierce Urgency of Now tonight. Welcome, 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 Diane.
So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. Our family gathered around the small black and white television in our living room. watching attentively as the historic crowd spilling from the Washington Monument. But you needn't have been in the audience that night to know the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream speech. We've all heard it, even if only on his birthday or during Black History Week. August 1963. I remember it as a time of great hope, energy, and promise. And on the cusp of my teens, I found myself swept into civic action, marching, protesting, volunteering for candidates. And that was despite my family's admonitions to keep my head down and study, since Negroes, as we were then called, had to be twice as good to get or stay in the game. Sadly, the promise of that moment was met with violence and upheaval, and by the time I had college in my sights, the family messages prevailed. I focused my energies on personal achievement. School, training, career, and family filled the next decades. Then I had the stroke that inspired my first show. And staying alive, rehabilitation, providing for my sons filled the front burner. Recovered, I wrote, traveled, performed, always mindful I might not have even another day. Then came COVID. Life screeched to a full stop. The whole world upended, stalked by disease and death for which isolation seemed the only remedy. But there was, of course, a silver lining. As my stroke taught me, there always is. For me, it was time to consider if this is my last year on earth, or the end of life as I know it, what really matters? Who matters? What can I live without? And what can I not live without? And in the midst of that rich time of exploration came the murder of George Floyd. From around the world, millions flooded the streets declaring Black Lives Matter. But here, in the birthplace of the movement, protesters were met with militarized police, flanked by armed right-wing extremists, and people countering, all lives matter. The scenes so echoed the tumult of the 60s. A slumbering self awoke. I explore the canon of Black and liberation literature and return to the dream speech. But this time, I hear words less often cited. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. We've come to cash this check, a check that will give us, upon demand, the riches of freedom and the security of justice. Just as COVID holds a mirror to our society, revealing all its fissures and flaws, so does that murder and Black Lives Matter. For me, these months have been a time of studying and awakening, of embracing my cronehood, my Blackness, my lived experiences. And though sheltering in place limits my mobility, it will not muffle my voice. Not now, not ever again. In the words of MLK, America defaulted on the promissory note for us. But America, 2020 brought you another chance. Grab the fierce urgency of now. For now is the time to make real the promises of democracy. Thank you.
Wow, Diane, that is it, isn't it? You really captured it. It is it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. And we now move to Joanna Rush. She's appeared in 2 Marsh performances, Sex and Power and Kick. And tonight she'll do an excerpt from her new performance in development called Dust. Hello, Joanna.
Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome to the first grade. I'm your teacher, Sister Nazaretta. To get to know each other, I'd like to go round the room and introduce ourselves. Say your name and share with the class one of your most favorite things in the world and one of your least favorite things. All right, I'll go first. I'm Sister Nazaretta. I was named after the city where the little baby Jesus was born. My most favorite thing in the world, of course, is God. My least favorite thing is pagans. Now, would you like to go, young man? I'm Jimmy O'Brien, James O'Brien. In school, we use our Christian names. James. My most favorite thing is Belmar, New Jersey, and my least favorite thing is Spam sandwiches. Very well. Next, young man. I'm Frankie Signorelli. Francis. Boys and girls, please, we must use our Christian names. Go on. Your most and your least. Point Pleasant, New Jersey, and Blimps. Fine. Next, young man. Tom Gaffigan. No. Boys and girls, we must use our baptismal names. Now, your Christian name is Tom S. Go on with your most and your least. Baseball and spinach. Very well. Next young man. Jackass Tierney. Please. John Tierney. All right, why don't we hear from a girl? I'm Mary Ann O'Malley. My most favorite thing is ice cream, and my least favorite thing is overpopulation. Well, now, Mary Ann, don't worry. If the planet gets too crowded, God will step in and start a war or a pandemic. That's a little bit from my new piece that I'm working on with Seth Wilpan. It's really about 2 ancient mystics who are considering contemporary funeral options. But let's leave it there. And I can't help but think that if Sister Nazaretta had evolved at all, that she would add, and if God does send a pandemic, not to worry, because they will also send a wonderful angel to bring a group of friends and colleagues together to support each other through the pandemic, to find new ways of working, to learn new technologies. And they would also send Brian Williamson to shepherd us through the technology, Zoom, and I forgot her wonderful name, who introduced us to artists from all over the globe. And I think she would definitely feel that Stephanie Weisman would have to be canonized as the patron saint of pandemic performers. Thank you.
Okay, finally! You're the
What?
first to give me anything like that. One time they gave me a thing because I got really ripped apart by some performer who would call me Saint Stephanie of the Mission. But this time this was done in goodness. Thank you, Joanna.
Thank you.
Thank you for a wonderful performance. I was laughing out loud. In fact, I laughed without being muted, and Brian immediately muted me.
Oh, you're in trouble.
Thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, next up, we have our final performer of the evening, Valerie David, who will be performing Coronavirus and Metastatic Cancer spoken word poem that she wrote, which was inspired by this year's events and headlines. She is also the writer-performer of the award-winning solo show, The Pink Hulk, one woman's journey to find the superhuman within, chronicling her true story to become a 3-time cancer survivor, which is part of the Solo Arts Heal series. So, welcome, Valerie. How are you tonight?
During the plague, the bard wrote King Lear, but living with the virus, let me be clear. Good for you, Willie, but I'm just living in fear. Do I have a fever? Do I feel dizzy? Corona's got me crazy, living in a tizzy. What does it mean? Am I carrying the virus? Am I on the wrecking ball like Miley Cyrus? I had breast cancer stage 4 metastatic. Trying to keep the head noise out. I'm a germaphobe fanatic. Forget about COVID. Will my breast cancer return? Have a Zoom funeral, then stick me in an urn. I can't face death from 2 diseases. The anxiety is constant and never eases. I had lymphoma, but I beat that. But will my luck run out? That's where I'm at. Not happy being in a high-risk group, need more than grandma's magic chicken soup, waiting for the 2-dose vaccine, the antidote, feel locked in a castle surrounded by a moat, seeing death's climb, trying to flatten the curve. If you don't wear a mask, you got some nerve. You're putting us at risk. Don't be hanging around me. Why you so blind to this, making death for free? How about the weight gain, staying home, gym closing, I'm sedentary, while torturing myself watching the remake of Pet Sematary. And afraid my poor eating will awaken the cancer beast as I up my nightly sugar intake, partaking in a sweets feast. At 2 a.m., I still eat leftover Cadbury cream eggs and wonder why I got this belly and these tree trunk legs. My neighborhood's businesses shut down on the west side upper. Outdoor dining in the cold or takeout, that's what's left for supper. It's a ghost town like a scene in the old Wild West, so take heed. Walk down Broadway soon, you'll be seeing tumbleweed. I don't have Netflix, Stars, or Hulu. Don't want to spend money or my savings I will blow through. Stores still low on toilet paper and paper towels, feeling as deprived as Gilligan Island's thirst in the third howl. COVID, you took so many. Leave alone legends Betty White and Sidney Poitier. Please spare another singer, Harry Belafonte. Deo, Deo, daylight come, and me want to go home. Not me, Harry. I want to go out and roam. I miss someone holding me at night, caressing my thinning hair, telling me everything's gonna be all right. Missing my mom and dad, that's really bringing me down. No longer mind being grounded when having that party when they was out of town. Looking down a barrel of that Corona gun, alone, yearning for that special person to just watch with me the setting sun. People are crying, hurting, waiting on bread lines like my grandparents did. Hell, we're back in 1929. So I plead with the government, quit your bickering now. Find a solution to get us through it, get us back to normal somehow. Receiving one stimulus check was a noble gesture, how nice, but that dried up quick. That second one needs more sugar and spice. We continue the movement to stop the abuse. Black Lives Matter, voices heard, no longer obtuse. So many killed like Taylor and Floyd because of cell phone video. Those guilty, justice you can't avoid. Every life has value, deserving of peaceful living. No more hurting, no more of this sinning. Let's come together in unity and hope. I'm tired of sitting around where all I do is mope, but I'm the pink Hulk from surviving cancer ×3. I'm a fighter, cancer smash, I continue to be. To conquer the coronavirus is our global endeavor. In this together, we will fight this forever. No more hospital morgues and funeral homes overflowing. No more death toll. Let's stop it from growing. As we look to the future, welcome, welcome 2021. Bye-bye 2020. Boy, were you no fun. We're done. There is promise, there is light in the new year. Skies will be blue as this dense fog starts to clear. We'll win in the end. Don't think that's wrong. Crossing the COVID finish line, we are global strong. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much to the Marsh and Stephanie and Gail. And it's an honor to be part of Solo Arts Heals. I want to wish everyone a happy new year, and we will see light at the end of this dark tunnel. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Valerie. Woohoo! It's like COVID, cancer squared or triaded and everything. Black Lives Matter, it all wrapped up in your poem. Thank you for that finale covering such a large territory and landscape of what we all might be and are going through. So thank you so much. Well, that's our performances tonight. But what we wanted to do tonight, additionally, was to have some fun and some looking at what inspires us. What kind of aspirations do we have for 2021 as we leave this year, which we hope gets us done with all the icky yicks that have been going on. See, I'm trying to rhyme and doing a bad job. Oh well. Anyway, I will say that we have a comment in the chat from Jude who says, "Thank you for these inspirational stories and poems and my love. And I'm making a donation tonight. I appreciate what you do so much. Thank you. Thank you so much." Okay, so we're going to take the next just 2 minutes, and in the chat, I think, Brian, in the chat, you can just write a sentence or fill out a Google form and just write a very simple, I know, Valerie, this is not going to be a surprise for you. I want you, wait, I wrote it down. Hold on, let me get to where I wrote it. In one sentence, write one thing you are inspired by and one aspiration for 2021. So let's get to work. We're going to give you 3 minutes, and then we're going to start, and you can type them in the chat if you want. And then we're going to somehow put them on this imaginary marsh spirit tree or something like that, whatever that is. Okay, So just I'll just stop talking so you can focus on your writing of 1 sentence. It's 8:17 now. At 8:19 we are going to put them. We're going to come back and we'll hear the ones from our performers and look at some ones from in our chat. Okay, I will be quiet now. Okay, so let's see. Can we quickly go through just all the people who performed tonight? And let's start with Diane. Do you have something?
I'm unmuted, yes. So I wrote, my aspiration is next year I will premiere the first iteration of my new show, Not One of Us, which is an exploration of class, race, gender, and privilege in my life. And my inspiration continues to be my communities of writers and fellow creatives, nature, and life in all its manifestations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Joanna? Joanna, you're muted. All performers, unmute yourself right now.
Okay, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm inspired by those who speak truth to power, and I'm just affirming I want 2021 to be a year in which truth trends and sets us free, so we can tap more deeply into our creativity and bring much needed healing to the planet and each other.
Whoa! Yay!
Thanks.
Rhonda, would you like to go next?
I will go next. I am inspired by the indomitable human spirit, the spirit that I see all of us exhibiting, and by all of us, like on the planet, that we keep moving forward through these days that have been so dark, and keep finding ways every day to just open. That's the word that's coming to me, to open and keep moving forward. And I aspire for myself next year to figure out a way, especially in January and February, as we still go through this, to not have every single moment of the day filled with work, which is what I feel has happened to me. So filled with other things would be lovely. Thank you.
Unwork, Rhonda, unwork. Sam, you want to read yours?
Oh my God, how could I still be there? I'm not muted. Actually, I've been inspired to say other things I wrote. First of all, though, inspired by vaccines and health. And I aspire, I'm going to change this a little bit. We've had a terrible year this year of losing lots of people, even recently. So I aspire to be a year where no more dances. Just as I said, that we, not just because of vaccines, but because of life and the like. And of course, professionally, I'm working on the book, and we're on a new platform. So my mission is that as many people who need to see this show get to see it, and now we'll be able to read about it. That's my aspiration.
Thank you, Sam. Valerie, ready?
Mm-hmm. My inspiration are the healthcare workers and all the essential workers, because, you know, if I'm ever going, oh, I have to do this today or that today, I think of what they have to do every single day and what they do around the clock, helping people and saving people. And they should get a lot more credit than they do. And they inspire me because they are in the thick of it. And I think for aspirations, I want to continue with the Pink Hulk and performing it and debuting my new show, Baggage from Baghdad, about my family my father's family in particular fleeing Iraq in 1941 from religious persecution and their struggles to be immigrants, which is very relevant today. And I think, for personally, I think that I'm going to try to wake up on the sunnier side of the street. It's been a struggle with the pandemic, and I'm not going to sugarcoat, that, oh, things are, every day is a great day. And I have to appreciate what I have even more, because we're seeing so much more loss. And, I'm with Rhonda I'm not seeing my family during the holidays, and that's been really hard. But I'm proud of that, because I'm saving their life, I'm saving other lives, and I'm saving my own life. And it's really hard. And then I have to realize that there are other people who won't ever see their family again, and because of COVID. And so I want to be more appreciative and grateful for what I have and not what I don't have.
Thank you, Valerie. Thank you. Gail, do you have something?
I would say yes. I'm inspired by creativity and aspire to possibility in love and connection with my family and friends and the greater world. I have a lot of projects in play, and I'm really looking forward to a lot of good possibilities in the coming year.
Thanks. So I'm going to read mine, and then I'm going to read one from the chat, and then the order in which you performed, if you would choose one chat and read it to everyone, somebody from the chat. So I'm going to read mine, which is, I will be inspired by the art. Oops, it moved. I will be inspired by the art and friends, family, and community around me. And my aspiration is take what I'm learning and move it forward. So that's my aspiration. And Hildy says, continue making good trouble and being inspired by hope like those of you who spoke this evening, and to hug again, resilience. Yes. All right. So after me, it was Rhonda, right?
Yes. I am going to read Bonnie's inspired by storytelling and kindred spirits, aspiration, explore developing new meaningful friendships and what I can do to be a better friend. That's beautiful.
Do you remember, Sam, were you next?
And I'm going to read a short one by Kristen, and it says, I am inspired by bold performances, and I aspire to seamless transitions.
And who performed after Sam? Diane.
That would be me, yes. And I'm going to read Sherry Sawyer. I'm inspired by the power of the word. I'm aspired to give voice to my life experience of joy that life holds and resistance to injustices.
Wow.
Girl power.
Am I on?
You're next, and we can hear you, Joanna.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to read Hildy Spritzer from YouTube. To continue making good trouble and being inspired by hope, like from those of you who spoke this evening, and to hug again. Resilience.
Woo. Gail, would you like to? Oh, wait, Valerie.
Yeah. I'm going to read two that are short, so they're heard. Their aspirations are heard. One is Ariella Strauss from YouTube Live. My hope is to inspire others through my writing and performing, and it's not about me, it's about uplifting the audience. And Turkey Sub from YouTube Live, reading people's work, listening, remembering the merit and mindful receptivity in experiencing people's words. And thank you for those words for both of you. They're amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
Gail, are you on? I don't know what's left. It's hard to tell. But are there
I
any?
don't know what's left, but I was going to read Turkey Sub because I believe I know that person very well.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize, Gail, you were
No.
going to read one. I'm
No,
sorry.
not at all. Not at all. I was really glad that you read that one. And I see just Marsh Stream to panelists. I'm inspired by all of you who I get to listen to week after week and really have been my motivation. So I will second that to a Marsh Stream panelist comment.
Well, so I think we've read them all. Did we miss any? Did we miss any? I don't think so. All right. So any more, just put them. You can fill out that Google sheet and send it to us, and we're going to list them on our website. And, you know, we're coming to the end here. And Gail, I wanted to thank everyone for all this amazing work and all the amazing work that all you solo arts healers are doing in your life and through your performances. It's wonderful. And I'm going to hand this over to Gail, and she's going to talk a little bit about what's coming up and anything else she wants to talk about.
Well, thank you. Well, I second that, Stephanie. A big thank you to you and to Brian Williamson and Kristen Scheel and Brianna and the wonderful Marsh Stream for all the great work that's done, and especially to all of you solo artists who have made my life so rich, and your shows are wonderful. We have covered so many important subjects, and we've honored Native Americans through storytelling and addressed postpartum depression and Alzheimer's and suicide, hospice. Creative arts therapist Jude Trader-Wolf, I saw she posted tonight, joined us for her show This Isn't Helping, about being a first responder during 9/11 and therapist burnout. And we address climate change in many different shows with Timothy Mooney and Man Cave and Ross Travis and Tempting Fate and Hai Ting Chin and Science Fair. And I just really look forward to the coming shows, which we have next week. Ananda Bina Weber, Fanciful show, Bees, The Heart of the Matter. And she is just an incredible interdisciplinary performing artist who will really speaks from the heart and has wonderful characters. So everyone can enjoy that. We have Deb Castellano and Waste Management coming up in January, and also the Health Story Collaborative with Dr. Andy Brewster and storyteller Carolyn Wright. Dr. Brewster is an assistant professor at Harvard Medical School and a practicing internist at Mass General Hospital in Boston, but she's also a patient diagnosed with multiple sclerosis who founded the nonprofit Health Story Collaborative to empower patients and their loved ones. And we're going to learn all about that. And also in January, Skin, written, performed by artist and activist Hope Singson, in a frank and funny queer love story with music that explores the creativity and courage it takes to heal. And she's also the founder of the Heal Me Too podcast and festival. We'll learn all about that. So we've had a rich year, and we have so much coming up. I'm really glad everyone can join us in the community and in the greater world. And I give you all my love and thanks here in the Solo Arts Heal Collective. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Gail.
New Year.
Thank you, everybody. This collective and this Solo Arts Heal has been a wondrous part of my life this past year. So thank you. And thank you also to Kristen and Brian and Brianna and everybody at the Marsh staff that works so hard to put all these things together for this show and all the freaking shows. Brian, how many shows have we done this year since we started on April 9th?
With this one, it's 373.
Wow.
373
Wow.
shows.
Wow.
And poor Brian, I added another show today to start tomorrow, and he's such a good sport. And we've got it. I think you all should watch this nutshell. I think it's going to be wonderful. It's dancers from Nigeria, from the San Francisco Ballet, from all over the world. And I'm so excited to have found out about it today, and that we can move so fast that we can put it out by tomorrow, hopefully, if we get it all together. So thank you so much. Check out this show, The Nutshell, the digital version of the Nutcracker. Come to all our shows, which start the week after the New Year starts. And let's have, and put your things in here, and let's have, oh my goodness, healthier, and you want to rhyme? Wealthier. Give us a tip. Healthier, wealthier. Okay, what's another thing we can rhyme here? Nothing, huh? Wealthier,
Mhm.
wealthier,
Health and wealth
Healthier, wealthier, stealthier.
Healthier.
imaginatively your creative world. So thank you. Goodbye, 2020.
Thank you.
Hello, 2021.
Bye,
Thank you,
2021.
for having all of us. Thank you. Bye. Happy
Bye.
New Year. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
How do I describe my journey with
Your mother, who takes care of you, who takes you to the doctor when you're sick. Your mother.
Good morning, New York. Buenos dias. It's me. What's up?
We went out for lunch at a sushi place where she tried sushi for the first time and she liked it.
I see that change can happen. I know things can shift and change for good.
I am dizzily dazzled with stars in my eyes.
Same level as I broke my neck. But he's not getting the same return of function I am.
And I don't want any of your smart aleck sex talk that I usually get when I get.
This is beyond the marsh because what you're doing is planting beautiful seeds for artists to grow.